Welcome on into the First Round Fantasy Podcast, your home for second round advice. We have the full First Round Fantasy crew here for you today. I'm not going to go through the names because you probably already know them. Good afternoon, fellas. How are we doing? Let's do a 1, 2, 3. How are we doing?
Good.
There we go. Yeah. It's like a Zoom class call today, man. It's kind of cool. So we're going to be doing a live mock draft for you today. It's a Dynasty startup Superflex. So we're super excited. It's our first live mock and talk. Jacob, wink, wink, came up with the lingo earlier. But we're pretty excited. We're going to kind of walk you through our strategy. Each of us is drafting from a separate position. So I believe we have Justin drafting at the number 1 spot, Damon at the number 3, Jacob number 5, I'm at number 7, and Joe takes the turn at number 10. This is a 10-team startup Dynasty Superflex. Before we get into that today, though, we're going to start off with a little bit of news, and that's Julio, man. The guy wants out. The possibilities are endless. Gentlemen, whoever wants to partake in this conversation, such as our good friend Gio Ramos, Julio to the Niners? Anybody up for that? Glass of water,
no.
I guess?
Please no.
So
Not
let me
only
get one
because
fantasy option and one realistic option. Joe, I'll start with you.
man, I hope to hell not the Niners, but I won't spend too much time.
Okay, hold on. Why not the Niners just for real football?
Okay, because number one, we just mortgaged 2 future first-round picks for Lance.
So what do we give for them?
And we have
Julio's
Ayuk,
not worth a first-round pick, though.
and we have Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, and the team's built around running. I love Julio, but I just saw the report today that said they've already been offered a first. I'm not going 3 years in the future to offer a first-round pick for Julio.
No.
Yeah, no.
All right, Jacob. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I like what Jaden just said. What up, Jaden? I like that. Tennessee feels like a good fit. They lost Corey Davis. They got A.J. Brown. Julio and A.J. Brown, that would be nice. So I like them or the Packers to go all out to save Aaron Rodgers and go out and get a Julio.
The Packers for me is like the ideal fantasy and realistic option. Like they went out, they were supposed to get Will Fuller last year. You know, Julio's aging. It just seems like a good combination. Someone that's going to keep Aaron Rodgers around. Justin, any tidbits? Any bits of any thoughts out there?
I thought I was going to catch you all by surprise when I thought of the Packers because that's enticing on everyone's end. But my feel fit is basically Tennessee because that's just going to push them over the top. You said it. They lost Corey Davis. That's where I want them to go.
Yeah, both A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry have coerced him on Twitter to possibly join the Tennessee Titans. Jacob, obviously you said the Niners. Anything else?
Well, no, I don't really think or desperately want that to be. I mean, I'd be cool with it depending on what they gave up, but I think Tennessee's the best fit for me, best option. Like, it's not like, A.J. Brown, they don't really have much competition for targets there. So it just fits. Like, him going there isn't going to hurt A.J. Brown that much.
Yeah.
Like, A.J. Brown's going to be a target monster this year without adding somebody. But you throw Julio in there, they're both going to miss a couple games. They are. So I think that's a good fit.
And they just lost both of Jonnu and Corey Davis.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a lot of targets to go around over there. And that team feels like every year they get to the playoffs, they sputter a little bit because they can run on you, but they don't really have the options in the pass game. So like Justin said, that puts them over the top in my mind. They're instant Super Bowl contender, if not one of the favorites with that.
Julio undoubtedly top 10 wide receiver year after year after year over the last couple of years. If he goes to somewhere like the Tennessee Titans, is he a top 10 wide receiver at 32?
Oh,
No.
What about if he goes to Green Bay? Top 10 receiver at 32?
He's done being elite, but I'll tell you he'll be the best flex I can get.
No, I think he's still a wide receiver too.
He's going to be a 2 at least.
Yeah. I got him.
In those offenses, maybe, but not Tennessee, maybe the Packers, but Tennessee.
On Green Bay, he finished top 10.
Yeah, on Green Bay,
top 10, no way.
Yeah.
On Green Bay, it's possible.
Crazy.
But there's good receivers in the league, man. He's not washed, but he's not,
So you guys think staying in Atlanta is the best option for him fantasy-wise?
No.
Green Bay.
Okay, so then everybody doubts Julio every year, and he ends up in the top 10 every year. Where did he finish last year? I'm pretty sure he was in the top 10 again.
No, he missed like 6 games.
Yeah.
I know he missed a lot of games. But I mean, especially if you look at points per game, he was definitely in the top 10.
Really quick, I don't want to spend too much time on it. Let's look at the other side of the ball. If Julio leaves Atlanta, how much do you love Calvin Ridley? How much do you love a guy like Kyle Pitts? Is he someone you're reaching on in the upcoming Dynasty draft that we have on Monday? Somebody maybe with the number 3 pick. What? No? Anybody? Nobody want?
To me, it doesn't.
What's the number 3 pick? You have the number 3 pick.
Yeah, because I'm taking Kyle Pitts.
How do you?
We'll see it.
How do you compare that with Kyle Pitts and Julio? Like, is Kyle Pitts just going to be more of a receiver than a tight end?
Just more targets.
Julio's out, I guess, but it definitely bumps Kyle Pitts up, but not an insane amount. I think it boosts Gage a lot, though.
Oh, yeah,
Russell Gage is someone you also have to keep an eye on. So, Joe,
Jacob coming around on my boy.
No. At the time when that trade happened, there was a trade involving Russell Gage. I didn't love it. At the time that it happened, I wasn't thinking with Julio gone. Like
I
wasn't. So how could you even that?
The news
there was no
there.
rumors. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. I promise you. I told you.
I mean, if anything, it was rumored, but it wasn't like even close to being this.
No,
official.
it wasn't. Obviously, this. If he wants to win, he goes to SF and reunites with Kyle Shanahan. He ain't winning and says, Gio, that's true. But at the end of the day,
all 3 of those teams are winning playoff teams. So
yeah, but we don't need to spend on a guy like Julio at his age, man. It's just it's a luxury that we cannot afford.
Dude, he needs to join the Vikings now that the
And with that, we are moving on. Again, we got full 10-team mock draft Dynasty Startup Superflex. I'll run through the spots one more time. Justin drafting from the 1, Damon from the 3, Jacob from the 5, me from the 7, and Joe from the 10 at the turn. We're going to give you a little bit of our thoughts as we move throughout this draft. We're going to see how much we can get in about an hour. But, maybe we'll have some good insight for you as you prepare for your drafts in the upcoming weeks.
I do want to add a little bit more information, Gabe.
Go ahead.
So it's PPR, just for anybody who's wondering. It's full PPR. Obviously, it's a snake draft, and I think that's it. And also the computer is not – I don't know if the computer is going to draft as Dynasty, as they're making Dynasty picks. So basically, we're drafting as if it's Dynasty picks. So it's going to be a little lopsided that way, but it's the best we can do.
They'll be fine.
It's nice.
All right. You can't set the AI to like Dynasty versus redraft?
They can't do that on here, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, then I think we're ready to get started. So as soon as we get the momentum going here, these picks will start flying off the board. Justin, I mean, come on. It's a Dynasty startup. You have the number 1 pick. I'll narrate as we go along. Feel free to add your thoughts, obviously, when you're in your position. But what are you thinking, Justin, here? Dynasty startup, CMC, obvious choice, right? You're not just going to pull us out of the gates.
Yeah, it's super obvious, but there's certain things to consider, such as his injury. Do you think Dalvin can be better? Do you think Saquon can get back? Or do you want to go Kamara? Those are my thoughts. I don't think Taylor or a wide receiver can be considered, but I think it's pretty obvious, and we got to go with Christian McCaffrey as the first overall.
Christian McCaffrey off the board. Alvin Kamara at number 2. Right back to Damon at number 3.
Hey, that's a good pick for
the
computer.
So I'm going to be doing a 0 RB draft just to show you guys how that can end up, especially in a Dynasty. What the hell was that?
I got a husky. Now that I muted my
running backs have the shortest lifespan. Wide receivers get better, longer contracts. It's a full PPR league. So I'm going to wait till at least round 8 to even look at a running back. Round 8. But this is a super flex league, guys.
Okay.
Right. Super flex.
Ballsy.
Going P. Mahomes.
Wow, good pick.
The thing is, I don't know why anybody's laughing, because That's the number. That's all right. Him and McCaffrey are like 1 and 2 in Superflex Dynasty drafts.
No, that's great. That's
I was
great.
hoping he was going to make it to me at 10. Obviously, this is
I
just
thought
for
he was
fun,
going to make it
but-
to me at 5. I would have
Yeah.
taken Mahomes if he fell to me at 5.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not laughing at Demont. It's a great pick. The suspension was good, though, because we were talking about 8 rounds until an RB. We'll see if that happens. Dalvin Cook goes right behind him at number 4. For those of you who didn't hear or see, Demont took Patrick Mahomes with the number 3 pick. Jacob's on the clock, minute 30.
So
what are we
this
thinking?
is tough with Mahomes off the board. Like, he's the one guy I would want in the first round. I don't know if I would take anyone else in the first round. Maybe a Josh Allen, but we
Trevor
all
Lawrence?
know that quarterback or running back goes quick in these drafts. So I love taking a running back in the first round. So I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor
And
in
you
a
pick
dynasty.
and a young guy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan Taylor's a great pick. Saquon Barkley goes right behind him. Gio wants to see how much we're going to be reaching. We'll see. We'll see. With that being said, I'm at the clock at the turn.
Kyle
Oh,
Pitts.
man. It's an icky situation to be in. I'm not at the turn, but yeah, I mean, you have guys like Derrick Henry coming off one of his best seasons. But, he's getting up there in age. And a lot of people that you talk to around here that know their fantasy stuff are saying this is the year, man. He's been playing pretty well for a pretty long time, and eventually it all starts crumbling down at some point. Do you want to have him when it comes to that time? Devontae Adams obviously dealing with the Aaron Rodgers dilemma. I do like a guy like Nick Chubb. However, a guy like Kareem Hunt, who just got signed for 2 years, kind of scares me there. In this situation, I'd probably be looking at the best player available at that point, and that's Tyreek Hill. So I'm going to go Tyreek Hill with the number 7 overall pick.
Wow, Tyreek is going to be my guy at 10.
27-year-old
Devontae
wide
Adams.
receiver.
Well,
Tyreek is gonna be
27,
my
3
guy.
good years left. I mean, when you're thinking about dynasty, you're not thinking too far out. You're thinking about immediate impact, 2 to 3 years. And
Sure,
I think
sure.
Tyreek Hill is relevant for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah,
Devontae
okay.
Adams, Derrick Henry after that. Joe, you're at the turn. Who do you got?
So you guys took Mahomes and Hill. Those were the 2 guys I was hoping were going to fall to me.
That would have been nice.
Yeah. I don't love Zeke, guys. He's making a lot of money. He looked very average with Dak out last year. And I just don't trust him in a dynasty like that. But what I do really like that's left on this board, and this is going to be a bit of a reach, but this is how much I love this guy, and that is my man Calvin Ridley.
Ooh,
I don't
Wow.
know.
you would never do that in a draft. I guarantee you.
I would. I'm telling you that when I look at the wide receivers, and I was high on them last year, guys. I remember my bold prediction was top 10, and it wasn't that, or my bold prediction was top 5, and he hit it. And I had him in like top 12, even in my rankings. And now with Julio on the way out, I mean, I don't see why this guy's not top 3.
I
And
guess when you're consider the Julio thing, when he's on his way out, that makes a lot of sense.
And who would you rather have? I mean, Hopkins is kind of getting up there in age. Stephon Diggs is amazing. He was
Justin
in consideration.
Brown, Metcalf.
So AJ Brown is, is definitely. I know you're not as high on AJ Brown as most
No,
people.
I like
but
AJ.
He's people would consider him over Ridley.
Yeah, I like AJ, but what have you done for me? Not as much as Ridley,
Okay,
I'm
but so
gonna-
your position though, would you have done that if you were back to back and you can get the next guy?
Well, I am back to back, and that's
no,
why
I
I
know.
did
I'm
it.
saying, oh my god, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
The hostility is already present in the
So
draft
my
room,
next
guys.
one, and I
I
just
love it.
really like this offense, and I feel like I have to go with him, and that is my boy Cam Akers. I like him more than Chubb in that situation, and Zeke. Like I said, just don't trust him. I think he's probably a better value pick in that situation, maybe even Aaron Jones. But with the Rodgers situation being shaky, I didn't trust Aaron Jones enough right there either.
Yeah. Those are 2 solid picks. Cam Akers is a good reassurance. He's looking to break out in 2021. Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott off the board after that. Falls to me at number 7. Want to take this time to say a quick shout out. Hello, Aaron. Thanks for coming on in. And Star Drew. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Justin, I also see you monitoring the chat there. Thank you very much. At the number 7 pick, I mean, you got a guy like Travis Kelce who's the best available. But again, this is a dynasty startup. Travis Kelce's 31 years old. Do I really want to, spend that valuable commodity and hope that he gives me 2 more years? I mean, he could be very well serviceable for 2 more years. But I like the upside of a guy that I'm picking, and I'm starting this draft with double wide receivers, and that is DK Metcalf.
Nice.
Travis
Definitely
Kelce falls behind.
Definitely would have picked him over Ridley.
Gabe, hold up. So Tyreek, Adams, Ridley, and then Metcalf. So you took Metcalf as the number 4 wide receiver, but when we talked on Twitter and the other day, you said top 5 is crazy. Is it just a longevity thing at that point? Why not go Justin Jefferson?
In a redraft league this year, I can see Metcalf having a season probably outside the top 12. Those are still good numbers. And my initial book it down to you was top 10 or top 5. I think top 12 is serviceable. I think that's going to be great. That's still wide receiver 1 numbers. And that doesn't mean that he can't explode in the years beyond that point. So that's kind of my reasoning for it. Travis Kelce obviously comes off the board. And it falls to Jacob Bartley back at number 5 on the turn.
Well, I love the Mahomes pick in the first round. I think you got to know who you're drafting with, right? So I don't really know how the computer is going to judge quarterback with this, but I know you guys are going to let quarterbacks fall. So I would love to take Josh Allen here. But to me, I also would love to like solidify my positional players and get a stud young wide receiver and a stud young running back. So let me see here. Where is he?
As Jacob ponders again.
I hope I see something very specific here.
Somebody. Oh,
I know Jacob.
This is what it is.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
If you didn't, I would have been.
If I
really
see,
surprised.
and that's another thing. I knew Justin was going to grab him, so he's not making it back to me. And I love that. Stud young running back, stud young receiver. I'm feeling good.
I like that.
Definitely a solid foundation. If you're not watching, he went with A.J. Brown, wide receiver from Tennessee. After that, Aaron Jones from Green Bay. And we're back to Damon, who started with Patrick Mahomes. So is he going to go? He's sticking with that 0 running back strategy.
0 running back. I don't want to double down on QB because I think this guy's going to be gone before it wraps back around. He's young, exciting. Probably it's going to be a receiver for sure.
Receiver.
Let me see it. There we go.
Yeah,
that's a great. Going to fall.
So I want all the kids at home watching understand this. When you're playing Snake and you pick first, it's a long way to come back. You got to make this second and third pick very important. And the hype boys are coming out like the Tyreek Hills of the world, the Ridleys. So that's good to see on your position. You in a Superflex, this has to be done. And you mentioned him earlier, Josh Allen. I personally believe that in Superflex, I'm new to it, but a QB is important, and a stud is a stud, and I don't want to pass on a QB stud for a wide receiver that I can make up later. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on,
that's a great point.
That's a perfect exclamation.
Both you guys like him more than Kyler and Lamar?
Yeah.
Way
more, like a lot more?
It's not
even though
close.
Lamar Jackson was like the number fucking 13.
Depending on scoring, he was number 1 last year.
Lamar Jackson was number 1 the year before that. So
okay.
But Josh Allen runs well. He gets touchdowns on the goal line.
Lamar Jackson runs better.
No, of course Lamar runs better, but that's not sustainable. I need a quarterback that can throw for 10 years.
True, and he has digs, yeah.
That's fair. Well, again, for those of you who are listening, Justin Jefferson went off the board. That was Damon's pick. Then Stephon Diggs. Justin took Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and he's still on the turn here, beginning round 3.
And this is hard for me because I want a receiver. I don't like stacking one position. I like studs everywhere, but all the top dogs in my eyes are gone, so it's pretty difficult. It puts me in a hard position, so I'd have to think about it. I really don't have a pick in mind.
Isn't there a timer here? I want to hit it before the timer.
Yeah, he's got 35 seconds, Justin, on the clock.
I mean, I guess this is what I'll have to do.
Mike Thomas. See, that in Dynasty is a great spot for him, I think.
Well, you have to think, age aside, a lot of these names are going to fall that are older, but yet still have much more to prove, much more gas in the tank than we think. And Michael Thomas is a perfect example as the first pick of the 3rd round. Dobbins comes after that. Damon, you're on the clock. Justin, you want to go ahead and explain real quick?
Just the reason is I know future is nice, but you want to win today. So that's the reason for that pick.
Yeah, 100%. Dobbins goes next. Damon on the clock. He's going 0 RB, the only one to kind of give us a strategy here so far. Patrick Mahomes in the 1st round, Justin Jefferson in the 2nd. Now he's faced here with his pick.
Can Hopkins fall further than this?
No, there's no way he can go there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's impossible.
Even in Dynasty, you've got to take the 3 years that you've got with him and Kyler.
Dobbins and Sanders in the 3rd round.
Hey, I have both of those guys in Dynasty. Let's go.
That's crazy.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Where did Hopkins finish last year?
He was like top 4.
Yeah, he was up there.
So DeMont's going in, best quarterback, stacked at wide receiver, which is nice.
Stacked at wide receiver. Sanders goes off the board after that. Jacob Bartley, back to you.
I'm going with a strategy. I mean, I'm just going to have a balanced team is what I'm going for. I mean, I think that's what everybody really hopes for, you know? So this is tough. But again, like I said, running backs, right? And who's going to be available in 11 picks when they come back to me? So I just want to secure that. Ooh, this is close, but I'm going to go with this guy.
DeAndre Swift.
I just think he's going to be very Kamara light in a way where he's going to be like a receiver. He's going to have like 750 receiving yards and like 700 rushing yards. And that's very valuable in fantasy. So I like this with Jonathan Taylor, Swift, and Brown.
That's a great pick, Jacob. I was hoping it was going to come to me.
That's weird because this shows a lot of disrespect to Eckler, and I don't know why.
I love Eckler. If it wasn't Dynasty, to me, Eckler would have went in the 2nd round if it wasn't Dynasty.
True.
Interesting.
DeAndre Swift, Jacob, nice pick.
How old is Eckler?
He's not that old. I think
he's like
26 or 26,
something like that. But he doesn't have a lot of mileage either. He was behind Melvin Gordon for a while.
True.
The problem is just that he's so small, man, that it's like he just turned 26, by the way, 10 days ago.
He's not going to be a workhorse, but he's another one of those Kamara types, too.
I went with Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson.
That's hot.
Austin Eckler after that. George Kittle follows. First tight end off the board, George Kittle. Went to an auto pick. Now we fall to you, Joe.
Kelsey went in the 2nd to
I actually like that pick,
sorry
Gabe.
about that.
I think he's the best dynasty running back left, Gabe.
He's good. He's so underrated.
So according to this app, this is a big reach. They have him in a 10-man being worthy of a 6th round. Obviously, this is Superflex, so they're not accounting for that.
And it's Dynasty.
But I'm going to go Herbert right here. And again, this is my number 3 quarterback, and I have these top 3, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, I think are going to run the league. And I'm happy as a Niner fan they're all in the AFC. But I love Herbert that much that's a no-brainer. I was hoping that maybe Allen was going to fall, but I knew it was unlikely. So grabbing Herbert I'm still very happy with that.
Hey, so Aaron here makes a good point. Maybe we should say our picks when we take them, because then it kind of gets lost. So that way the listeners can know. Because if we put this on audio format, they're going to be like, "Who did he take?" And I'm saying
only
this
narrate so much.
I said this guy when I made my pick. So
True.
But Joe, you did announce Herbert
nice
when you
pick,
took
Joe,
him.
and you got the
Yeah. So my next pick. Again, so I'm looking at it. I got that stud wide receiver that I really wanted in the 1st round. I got the stud. I got that stud running back I really wanted in the 2nd round. I got that stud quarterback I really wanted in the 3rd round. Now I'm looking at this and I go, well, I could take a wide receiver, but I love the wide receiver depth, right? And I see one more running back that I just need to have, and that's Najee Harris. And I just think, for him to last to the 4th round in a dynasty, that's kind of, and again, the computer has some stuff to say about it. Obviously, Eckler and some of these other guys may fall behind him. Look at the computers drafting Fournette.
I'd rather have Najee instead of Gibson.
Yeah, I would too.
So I almost took Najee Harris over Swift. If I didn't take Swift, I was going to take Najee Harris.
I thought it was between those 2 for you, Jacob. I thought so.
Yeah.
Well, we will be sure to post the results after on Twitter to see.
Guys, Leonard Fournette balled in the playoffs. He's going to be really good.
Travis Etienne, by the way. Gabe took Travis Etienne. For people wondering.
That's a great pick.
So the top 2 rookie running backs go in the 4th round here.
Still a lot of great names there, Jacob. Terry McLaurin, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase. That's where we start to see our rookies in that mid-4th round.
To me, there's arguably especially for Dynasty, there's arguably one quarterback left in the top tier. And I'm going to take him. If you guys didn't know, Lamar Jackson from week 10 on was the number 2 quarterback in fantasy last year from week 10 on. So he still has it. He's going to improve in the passing game. I think got some more weapons. I don't put this at all in the 4th round.
You wouldn't put a healthy Dak and a Kyler Murray in that mix too?
I like them. Yeah. I mean, they're there too, for sure. They're pretty close, but I think to me, that's the top tier, everyone who's gone so far. And then it's the next tier down with the rest of the guys for me.
Guys, I really like the computer draft for number 4. I mean, look at that team too. Dalvin, Aaron Jones, Sanders, McLaurin. Hey, I'm not kidding. I would be happy taking that. Like,
yeah.
That's a really good dynasty team right there. Number 2 also, Kamara, Diggs, Dobbins.
Somebody took Lamry?
No, CD's still on the board.
No, CD's still on the board.
Wow.
That brings us to our point. Terry McLaurin flew off the board. Jacob took Lamar Jackson. Back to Damon at number 3 again. 0 RB.
So with the 0 RB, you're gonna have to be better than everybody at the quarterback and the wide receiver position for sure. And so far, I think I'm accomplishing that.
Tight end too, though, Damon.
Yeah, I say it is 2. I don't think you have to be better than everybody at tight end because people reach for tight ends. You can't really reach when you have to draft
Dak over Lamar. I would agree with that star, Drew, personally. I think Dak has better weapons. He's proven that he can run. He's proven he can throw. I like Kyler and Dak over him.
His injury is what's hurting him.
Yeah.
So it was between Lamb and Chase. Just because if it's a starter dynasty, I'm going to go Chase.
Yep.
It's not a bad pick.
Oh, Pitts.
Far with those guys. Damn.
And
Look
this
at
is
number 2 also.
And this is the problem of drafting first in the snake. I wanted to snag McLaurin or Waller, and they're both taken, and I'm left with something I don't want, essentially.
Yeah. Wow. All the top tight ends off the board in the first 4 rounds.
Pitts in the 4th round. They must be going on need. So looks like the computer is like, I have a running back, I have a receiver. I don't know. It's weird because
Kyle Pitts was also ranked at the top of the list on the app.
Oh, was he? So that kind of seems like, you know what it is? It's based on ADP. So that just means that Kyle Pitts is being drafted really high in drafts right now.
Yeah. The computer that drafted Ridley and Akers is kind of tripping too.
Yeah. I think it's both. I think it is based on ADP, and I think the computer that drafted Ridley and Akers. You're a bot. You went 3 wide receivers and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Josh Jacobs are still on the board. Like, I personally, just the devil's advocate here, and I'll let Justin make his pick, but I'll be quick. I get going no RB for 3 rounds.
But at some point, you have to take one.
I don't get going past the 4th round.
Just see my team at the end.
So just to be clear, Superflex means you start a QB, and then a flex spot can be a QB as well, right?
Yeah. And we also have 2 flex spots on top of that as well. It's just like our Dynasty League.
So with that said, I have no positional player that I really love, so I have to go Kyler Murray I know now big points from my QBs. That's all I know.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I'm not tripping about it anymore, but that means I have to switch to a wide receiver or running back. And I'm not loving anybody, to be honest. James Robinson got destroyed pretty much. It's sad to see. All right.
Justin, he's facing many trials and tribulations so far this draft. Keep in mind, Justin, wipe the sweat off your face. It's only a mock.
See, also in Justin's
it's real, though.
I understand taking a CMC and then going kind of no running back for the next 4 rounds. I think that's also kind of a strategy where you secure your top dog and then say, hey, I'm going to play the free agency. I'm going to find my James Robinson. I'm going to find my McKissick, and I'll fill out the running backs later.
So basically, I don't have a running back I love, so I'm thinking Julio, Keenan, or Allen Robinson, and I just don't know who's going to be top dog, so I go with the best quarterback, and I pick Keenan Allen to pair with the Herbert. And not that I have Herbert, but I trust him being good.
That's fair. Keenan Allen for Justin at the number 1, start of the 5th round. Julio Jones off the board next. Back to Damon. How are we feeling?
For the sake of this draft, since I already said the 8th round, that's what I'm gonna do.
I mean, it's a nice experiment.
You would go Josh Jacobs right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Just to be clear, I'm okay with that. 4 rounds, you take your running back. I think you should.
I mean, even if you ended up with Clyde Edwards-Helaire right here, that would be great.
Because,
I know.
5th
round.
No RB, like nobody does no RB till the 8th round. So I still think you go with Jacobs or Clyde here, even if you said that, you didn't know that those guys were going to be available.
But this is what mocks are for.
That's
So maybe
true, yeah.
experiment and see what happens.
I just want to see how it looks.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm gonna stick with trying to be best at the 2 positions.
I mean, is this a real strategy?
I've never
It
seen
is
this.
very much a real strategy, but not till the 8th round generally.
Yeah.
Okay, not today. That's right.
I've seen it
rounds.
into the 6th. Yeah.
I've seen 6 rounds.
That's a good.
Okay.
That's a good pick too.
But damn, going in with Mahomes and Wilson, that's crazy.
That's
Damn,
crazy.
for doing your strategy, I like my team.
Yeah.
Wow, Russell
my team's
Wilson,
better than
nice
yours,
pick.
Dave.
Josh Jacobs, of course, off the board after that. Now we're back to Jacob Bartley, who's rounded his team off with a nice foundation to start. Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, DeAndre Swift, and Lamar Jackson. What do you think, Jacob?
So I want to go running back here just because the the lack of depth at the position, but I see how the board is shaking out with everybody stacking 2 stud quarterbacks. So I gotta go Dak Prescott here. And either way, if I took Dak at the previous pick or took Lamar here, I'm good with that.
And look at that computer. They stacked 4 running backs, and there's people that do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
So this is kind of realistic.
Shout out-
you should
shout
go.
out-
like Shane's here, guys.
late quarterback.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Gio.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're the one of us
Damon,
that
that's
have a quarterback. You should just go late
a good
quarterback.
possibility, Damon. Thanks for revealing strategies of some of our other guys around here. But late round QB in a dynasty startup Superflex is definitely a strategy, often frowned upon. But I'll play with that a little bit here. I'll see what I can do. I was going to go QB. I was going to go someone like Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence, assuming that Aaron Rodgers doesn't play this year, as they are also on the board. I'm stuck here at a minute. I solidified my running backs and my wide receivers. No real tight ends I'm willing to reach on this early. However, they could fall pretty soon. So in a situation like this, I want to go with someone who I think has a lot of volume, who's seen a lot of volume over the years. And that's going to cap me off at Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears.
Ooh,
Nice.
he's on my undraftable list.
Nice. So the guy I wanted slipped to me, guys. And I'm looking at the board right here, and I'm saying, okay, wide receivers, still some fantastic names, right? Godwin, Cooper, Thielen, Galladay, Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Juju, Devontae Smith, Ayuk. I mean, it's still looking stacked. Waddle, the names go on for a while. But what I'm noticing is that all of you guys have already kind of grabbed your second quarterback, except the computer. So in this scenario, I don't want one of these guys to snatch up the guy I want. And I've kind of built my team for the future rather than for today. So what I'm going to do is grab Trevor Lawrence because I think he's that damn good that if he's slipping to the end of the 5th round, that's a must-have. And then I feel pretty good. 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all, especially you have the back-to-back. Like if you didn't have another pick for a while, maybe not, but it's a good pick.
Yeah. And then I think right here, again, so I just reinforced I'm playing my team for kind of the long term, maybe not this year, but maybe the year after that. And the guy that stands out to me the most in that situation, I can see the argument for an Amari Cooper or a Godwin, but I'm actually going to go CeeDee Lamb.
I was hoping he would fall to me, man, because
I want
as far as young receivers,
I think we
that's
all
a good
were.
pick.
Yeah.
That's a solid pick. Joe rounds it out. Trevor Lawrence, CeeDee Lamb, 2 great picks, 2 young picks, definitely building his team for the future. And it's also really competitive right now. Chris Godwin at the turn, Amari Cooper. I find myself at number 7. I just took Robinson a few minutes ago. I'm looking at running back here if I'm really not trying to take a quarterback early on, which I still think is not the best option. But I see a lot of rookies there, and I see a lot of established names that don't have too long left on the burners. But I'm going to stick to my guns here, and I'm going to look at what my team needs. I have 2 running backs who are very prone to lose passing work and to lose running work. They seem to be in committees at this point. Obviously, Gibson's due for a breakout. That's what a lot of people are saying. And ETN, who knows what are in the cards for him. So I want to solidify that with someone I can know is going to get the workhorse load, but may not be as durable as most. But at least I know when he's in, he's going to get the workload, and that's Chris Carson.
Nice.
Running back for the Seattle Seahawks.
Underrated.
Thielen goes off the board next. Jacob Bartley. You've done a nice job of establishing your team. You went 2 quarterbacks the last 2 picks. Now you're standing here in the middle of the 5th round. What are you thinking?
for those non-watchers and just listeners, I have Jonathan Taylor, AJ Brown, DeAndre Swift, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott. My biggest need here, I mean, I don't think all the top tight ends are gone, right? So, and there's so many wide receivers. So I think I got to go running back here, even though I have Taylor and Swift. And it's not, even right now, I don't love the running back choices. But this is Dynasty. I want to make an investment. And so I'm going to go Javonte Williams here. Denver Broncos rookie running back.
Well, Melvin Gordon's on a 1-year contract. So, I mean, hey,
next
1 year
left
for Dynasty, that could be a beautiful pick that turns out to be. Cooper Kupp next. Damon, still going with the 0 RB, baby.
I'm going to do it to the 6th round, by the way, because you're right. 8 rounds, nobody will do. 6 rounds is doable, though.
Yeah. Well, then I'm changing mine to the 6th round as well.
Because your team is stacked other than running back right now, super stacked.
So for this round, I'm going to go just a young tight end that gets targets every year, Mark Andrews.
That's not
He's
bad.
probably the best tight end left.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
God, Team 2 ruined my life. I was going to go James Robinson. Damn.
I think James Robinson is going to do better than Etienne.
I think James Robinson is still going to see plenty of work with a rookie QB there. Yeah, sure, Lawrence is good. I think he'll have the potential to be great. But Urban Meyer comes from college, man. Those college teams love to run the ball. That's why they drafted 2 running backs, or I should say at least drafted Etienne, and they're going to pair him with Robinson. I think, if anything, we're hoping for a lesser version of Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. So I'm excited. But that leaves us with you, Justin, at the turn to start the 6th round. What are we thinking, my friend?
I wanted a running back, but I don't love any running backs. But I catch myself every year doing this because I love the wide receivers. But the Superflex threw me off on the 4th round. But I feel I have to take a running back in one of these 2 picks. So I'm debating upside versus win now.
I guess we could take Justin. You think about it. Star Drew. Let's see. Washington running backs will be used a lot this year, I think. Yeah, sure. We saw Myles Gaskin get a large workload with what's his name, Ryan Fitzpatrick. So turned out to be good for him just based on volume. McKissick is still there. They got Peyton Barber. A lot of guys there, but Gibson is undoubtedly the most talented and has most to gain out of that backfield. So I could see a potential where he gets a pretty big workload. If not a big workload, at least more passing game. But speaking of Myles Gaskin, there he goes off the board. Justin,
I got to draft him.
5th round.
And that's a huge hit to DeMont because when you go 0 running back to the 6th, you're hoping a guy like Gaskin's going to fall to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. That would have been my pick.
Yeah. So that's huge because now who's left as far in terms of running back? You've got guys like Mostert, Hunt, and guys whose long-term future is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, Joe, you bring up a good point. But at the same time, you have guys there that have question marks, but you don't know their potential yet. And that's a guy like Chase Edmonds. Ronald Jones, he's in a sticky situation, but he's still so young, and he's at the end of his rookie contract this year. And then you can go guys like Raheem Mostert, Kenyon Drake.
My rule of thumb is always draft the running back in a single field rather than a committee. So that's why I went Gaskin over somebody else. But I do like other players like Edmonds. But here, my next pick, I got 2 wide receivers, 2 QBs, 2 halfbacks. So I'm debating wide receiver or tight end. And with that, I'll have to go TJ Hawkinson because I'd rather draft a tight end that I like than do a filler at the end because I just don't like anybody else. So that was my pick. But I was heavily leaning between Galladay or Lockett or even Juju.
We have our first big snipe. That I was like, I hope Hawkinson falls to me because I normally wait for tight end and I end up regretting it because then I end up with some dart throws that I don't even know if they're going to be starters the whole year. So I was going to go Hawkinson at number 5 if he fell. So Good pick, Justin.
And I love that pick because I don't think that Hawkinson and Pitts has more upside, but Hawkinson is also a top 10 pick who's very young, and he's proven it.
And no competition for targets, not even the receivers, really.
So 3 rounds after Pitts and after Andrews, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer to me.
It's not a bad pick. Melvin Gordon goes next to our auto team here today. Damon, you're running down your minute, man. What are your thoughts?
So at this stage, at the 6th round, we have 2 starting running backs still. So I have to go with either one. And I'm thinking you got Mostert and then you have Edmonds. Edmonds?
It's Edmonds.
So, and I think who can finish in the top 15 between those two?
Who has the higher upside?
Who has the higher
Come on,
upside?
the
And
suspension is killing
It has
me.
to be Mostert.
Yeah.
There's
He can
actually
stay healthy.
Yeah, it's a solid pick if he stays
Yeah.
healthy.
If he's healthy,
Totally
that's a great pick for your first running back.
that's
a
a
great
winning pick, to be honest.
Yeah.
Tyler
We
Lockett
all
goes
know
off
what he
the
can
board
do.
next. I hope that answers Jaden's question. Thanks for popping in the chat. He was surprised that Lockett was still on the board, and now he's gone. Jacob Bartley, you 5th pick. Here we go, baby.
Yeah,
Middle of the
so
7th round.
I'm not loving the tight end options now. Like, there's some guys I like Fant and Gesicki, but I haven't seen it from them consistently to like buy it all in. And I'm gonna go with DJ Moore. Finally, take my second wide receiver off the board, and I just like DJ Moore. I think Sam Darnold is going to be a huge improvement there, so I like DJ Moore to pair with AJ Brown.
Where's Teddy Bridgewater? Is he still in limbo? Just
In
on the
Denver.
team? Oh, he's in Denver. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
starting
it's a-
over Drew Lock.
they're going to compete for the job.
It's a competition, baby, until Aaron Rodgers gets there.
Bridgewater's going to win the job.
We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah, probably.
DJ Moore off the board. Jacob, great pick. Your team's looking nice. Galladay after that, the new toy for the New York Giants. I'm sitting here. I'm so glad that Damon chose to not go no RB till the 8th. So I'm going QB in the 6th. And that's obviously one of the premier talents still on the board, and that's Joe Burrow, quarterback.
Oh,
of the Cincinnati
man.
Bengals.
That's such a steal. It's
So,
unreal.
wow.
So I want to tell you guys what my strategy
Wow.
was. So if Gabe doesn't take Joe Burrow right there, I know I have Lawrence and I have Herbert. But as we just saw this last week, DeMont and I basically exchanged Burrow plus a little bit for Dobbins, right? And when you find those teams that don't take a quarterback and they start to panic, I would have used that. And that's my strategy is I look, okay, some of these teams don't have a single quarterback, team number 9. I'm going to take
You're a
Burrow.
predator. You're a
Yeah,
predator.
exactly. I'm going to take what you need, and then I'm going to come back to you and say, well, I might wait till mid-season when we forget about these draft pick where you picked them and say, hey, David Montgomery for Burrow, and Montgomery is much better than every single running back left on this board, right? So that's where I see things. But that's a good pick, Gabe. That's a really good pick. So I've got to I'm pretty balanced right now, but I'm going to go right off the bat, and I'm going to take Ayuk. That's my boy.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great pick right there. And my receivers, I feel great with that. Ayuk, Lamb, Ridley. That is a great place to be long term.
I'll tell you what, Joe. If I didn't take DJ Moore, I was eyeing Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
That's
and
because-
DJ Moore, Jacob, we talked about how he's like top 12 going ADP, and you took him at number 21.
Let
So
the
that's
record show that the
awesome.
only reason they say that is because they're Niner homers.
Not at all.
Don't do that, kids.
No, this guy is a beast. We can
Ayuk
go
was
into
dropping 20 every game that he played last year. Like he missed some games to COVID protocol, and now he's probably going to be paired with Lance.
and he had
that's a
inconsistent
no-brainer.
quarterback play all year, different guys, and he was still balling.
Okay,
Alright.
so this may be a little bit of a Niner homer pick, but I don't love any running backs.
God.
I don't love any running backs here, and I think Mostert is gone at the end of the year. So, like, why would I take Kareem Hunt, who's going to play behind Chubb, when I think Sermon has a chance? And again, I already told you guys, I'm building my team for the future. I don't care about Kareem Hunt winning me an extra game this year. He's not going to win me the championship. So I'm going to go Sermon, who I think has a chance to be a top 10 running back for many years.
So you're okay
That's
with
a straight
losing?
homer pick.
You're okay with losing this year no matter what then, basically, which I don't agree with.
I mean, that's first of all,
We'll give you 30-second rebuttal, Joe.
First of all, I won Dynasty last year. Let's make that very clear. Between all of us who are in that
Now
league,
with the
I
team
won.
you have
Last year's an asterisk.
And I picked up one of the worst teams ever, and I turned them around in a year. Jacob can vouch for that. Gabe can vouch for
now.
that.
But we're
Devon can vouch
drafting
for that.
right here, nothing else.
Yeah, and I like the way my team looks for next year. And this year, I still think I'm going to be competitive. I don't think this is an awful team with CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk and Ridley. That's 3 top 20 wide receivers, in my opinion. And I got Akers and Harris, which is 2 borderline top 15 pretty easily running backs. So I don't think I have no chance. I think I have a chance, although I might not have as good of a chance as, say, Team 2 that drafted for right now.
You have a Vince McMahon no chance.
I would take my team over DeMond's team all day. He's starting Mostert.
That's not that. We said that's a winning move.
All right, awesome. I'm on the clock. I got
it just awesome.
Bro, my receivers are better than yours. My quarterback,
Joe Wentz, Thurman, running back, Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham off the board after that. I'm standing here with 20 seconds left. Number 7 pick, or I should say on the turn, coming back in the 8th round. I like the QBs that are still on the board. I'm confident that some of them will come back to me at the next turn, depending on how these autos decide to do. So I'm going to look for a supreme rookie talent at this point. He's the best available player on the board. That's Devontae Smith, wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Good
nice. Back to you. Jalen Waddle, another rookie, goes right after that. So rookies are starting to fly off the board. Jacob, you're sitting here at the middle of the 8th round. What are your thoughts?
Man, so now I'm pretty balanced. Obviously, I need a tight end, but at this point, I don't mind waiting because there's a few young guys that I like. There's some sleeper tight ends that I like. So I think I can go a different way. And honestly, like, I think my team is kind of like Joe's, where it's more win in the future than this year. But I still want to compete this year. And I know I have 2 quarterbacks, but I don't think I can let this guy fall any further, which is Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
That's dealing with the idea that he does play this year. That's a solid pick. We should have prefaced that from the beginning. I know some of us were drafting as if we didn't know, but Joe, I'll let you go ahead.
And Jacob, that's a great point that you made, which our teams are built very similar, right? A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, 2 top young wide receivers. Cam Akers, Najee Harris, Swift, and Taylor, 2 young quarterback or wide receivers. Even Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott, they're veterans in this league, but they're very young, like Herbert and Lawrence. Your team, your quarterbacks are probably more in position to win now. But then you also went young rookie running back, as I did with Sermon, and you went with the young wide receiver and more like I did with IU.
And when Team 9 needs a quarterback, I can go and flip Dak to them for something, you know?
Yeah,
for maybe even Kittle. Like, just throw Dak and something else for Kittle later on.
Yep.
So Jacob and Joe, always keeping trades in mind. Come on, you're standing here with just a minute left. Your team is starting to round out nicely. Go ahead.
I'm wishing for injuries at this point for a running back.
Or you're going to grab Chase Edmonds.
I mean, there's still a running back there that is guaranteed. I'm going to
grab Chase just because he has a starting position. Connor hurts his upside for sure, but I still think Chase gets the most run.
What about Mike Davis, Damon? He's still a starting running back in Atlanta.
Harris as well.
I don't like either of their backfields, though, to be honest.
That's fair. 30 seconds.
I think here you have to go Edmonds.
Well, you have to go running back either.
That is a solid pick. If Edmonds would have came back to me, I would have taken him there. I want the upside. I want the PPR value. And when you go 0 RB, that's what your team looks like. And right now, your team looks pretty good, Damon. So I wouldn't be complaining. You're drafting running backs with upside. Obviously, Mostert, not so much. But Chase Edmonds, the sky's the limit. Obviously, his floor is just as low. So you're kind of treat a home run. Hopefully, you don't strike out.
Well, if I was doing what DeMont was doing, and I had Mostert and Edmonds, I would have got their handcuffs. Maybe Sermon isn't taken by Joe at this point, and then you get Sermon with Mostert, and maybe you get what's his name with Edmonds. You get James Conner with Edmonds, and then you guarantee yourself some starting running backs no matter what.
True. Yeah.
So my position, I am not going the win for the future. I'm playing for this year is how the draft turned out. So no, this happens, right? Like
you have a really good team. So
yeah, I mean, I don't have the young bucks that everyone has, but it's like, okay, so let me win the next 2 years and I'll reconsider. So I'm going to switch my mindset off Dynasty a little bit, to be honest, and just go for the kill basically. So I'm thinking most points from position, and I'm going to target a halfback and a wide receiver. So with that, that's so difficult.
That's a really good point, though. I mean, if you're looking at other people and they're drafting and you clearly see, like, this guy has no chance this year, or, like, why is this guy drafting for the future when it's, like, clearly the startup? You can still win money now. Why not go for the throw? Why not take the players that are available, that are there? There's a lot of premier talent still on the board.
I'm gonna
What are
go
your
with
thoughts? 15
Chase
seconds.
Claypool.
And he went with Chase Claypool. What?
I mean,
No, I'm just kidding.
It's the combination for me because I was looking at best available and Sutton's there, but I don't like the situation. And then wide receiver kind of falls off for me. So I had to get the last wide receiver that has boom potential.
See, I think if you're going for win now, you go Deontay Johnson there by a mile. And at least in my eyes, I go Deontay Johnson. DeMont, I'm sure, agrees with me. You're going to go Deontay Johnson over Claypool for this year. No question about it.
About 130%, yeah.
Yeah. No question.
I mean, that's a little personal because I am a never drafter on him because he's so injured here, injured there. So I just don't touch certain players. He's one of them. But anyways, with my running back position, I'm taking Mike Davis because as Gaskin as my number 2, I'm not fully cool with that. But between Gaskin and Davis, I think I can find something there.
Team number 2 getting Deshaun Watson in the 9th round.
Dude,
not bad.
And that's their first quarterback off the board, though.
I mean, Watson's got to be appealing in Dynasty, right? Like, he doesn't play maybe this year, but he's back, and he's still, 26, 27? Like, that's a great age for a quarterback, so who knows?
I think the worry about him is that he gets permabanned, right? And then you're stuck with a guy.
See, but in the 9th round, well, they should have taken a quarterback earlier.
Yeah.
But, see, if I didn't take Aaron Rodgers, I would have taken Deshaun Watson if he fell to me.
Yeah, definitely.
If
Damon, back to you at number 3.
If Todd Gurley goes to Detroit, what does that do to Swift?
I don't think much.
I mean, what did Adrian Peterson do to Swift? Not a lot, but enough to make him take a back
but
seat.
Swift came on a lot as this
towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
think
that's
here
more rookie blues.
I see technically 2 starting running backs. I have David Johnson and Singletary. Ronald Jones literally doubled the amount of carries that Fournette got, but Fournette was better in the postseason. But Fournette's. I'm gonna go Ronald Jones.
That's a good pick. Like, if you got to take these Flyers now, and I like that. He can get back to what he was killing it for a little bit there in the middle of the season. Hopefully, he can get back to that.
Yeah. It's all hope when you do no RB.
See, DeMont, for me, I would double down right there. I would have went Deontay Johnson.
Oh.
No, I would go Deontay Johnson, and I would have said, the hell with it. I'm going to go Mostert, Edmonds as my 2 starters. I'm going to pick up some random Flyers later that I feel the same about Ronald Jones. I'm going to take a Jamal Williams. But my flex is about to be Jamar Chase, Deontay Johnson, and I'm going to have Justin Jefferson and Hopkins in my wide receivers. And I'm going to be just killing everybody at wide receiver all year.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you only can start so many players, so I mean.
Well, this is with the idea that we're doing 2 flex, 2 wide receivers, and I only am starting 2 running backs,
Sure.
Fair enough. Jacob, you're on the board with a minute left.
I'm going to go with Damian Harris right here. To me, if I needed a running back, like, I think he's the starter in New England. And I know there's a bunch of guys there, and we don't love New England running backs, but I think he's going to get the opportunity to be the starter there right away. And he's really good. We saw it last year. So I like I might have taken Damian Harris with one of DeMont's picks.
If this tells you how much I like Damian Harris, and it's not a lot, but in our 6-team keeper league, I'm literally deciding between him and like Myles Gaskin right now. That's because he showed a lot of promise last year. He just didn't get the touchdowns. But if Cam Newton is all of a sudden exit out of that offense and all those rushing touchdowns become available again,
see,
Damian
that's another
Harris,
thing that does hurt him too. As well. But again, this is Dynasty. Maybe Mac Jones takes over next year, and then Harris is the starting running back. So you got to think in those terms too.
Fair enough. It's a solid pick. Tom Brady went after that. And I just want to preface this by giving you a short story. In 2019 or 2018, whenever we started this Dynasty League, do you remember when we started it, guys? Jacob, 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, going into 2018.
Going into 2018. In 2018, then, I took 2 rookie quarterbacks so late in the draft, and I got flack for it. I took a guy by the name of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen as my 2 QBs, and one of my biggest criticisms was you have guys that can run but can't throw. Well, guess what? It worked out for me. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, I have no more shares of him. I shipped them off. I still have Josh Allen, and I'm excited about it. So in this situation when I find myself in, I'm going with a guy with a lot of rushing upside who is the only man in the backfield right now, and that's QB Philadelphia Eagles, Justin Fields.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You mean Chicago?
But my God, I meant to go Hurts.
Where is Hurts?
He's right there. I
So
totally meant to go.
Build-up was for Jalen Hurts.
I meant to go Jalen Hurts, and I got preemptive.
No lie,
you know what's crazy?
I was gonna pick him next round if he fell to me. When you were explaining, I knew you were talking about Fields. So I mean Hurts. So
yeah,
that's why
I was talking about Hurts. So we'll just go with the mindset that I had Hurts, but that sucks. That's a stinger.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick either way, honestly. Yeah.
So both guys have rushing up. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Hurts is being talked about as a top 10 quarterback in redraft, and he's young. So it's shocking to me that we're in the 10th round and he hasn't been taken. I'm gonna just say that.
We're taking him over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We had a real 10-mans rather than computers. He would have already been taken, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Okay. Well, my team again. We're playing for the future, guys. That's my strategy here is to win in the future. And again, maybe another homer pick. But I think this guy's got potential to be a top 5 quarterback. So let's go Trey Lance.
Yep.
And I don't think that's even crazy right there in the 10th round. I think that you're taking, am I going to take Tom Brady or Trey Lance? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to take Trey Lance, who's going to give me 15 years instead of Tom Brady, who's got 1 or 2.
Well, it becomes more of a concrete answer when you already have a guy like Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, of course you can gamble on a guy like Trey Lance. So that's a solid pick. You're also at the turn here, so you're still on the path.
And once Fields goes, Lance is going not far after, and vice versa. If Lance would have went first, Fields is going pretty soon.
Yeah. And then here I'd like to get a running back, just because I think that I can still find some good wide receivers as the draft goes on. But running backs, as we see with DeMond's team, they are very scarce. So I don't see anybody that I love. But I'm just going to kind of take a shot in the dark on one of these guys. And I think that the best one to do is A.J. Dillon.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, just in case he does start getting that goal line work and even has a potential to take Jamal Williams' role in Green Bay, that's a lot of points. So,
yeah, it's not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. Jarvis Landry, Cortland Sutton go off the board. So listen up, guys. I am going to take Jalen Hurts here. I was probably going to take Justin Fields with my next pick, and I'll explain my reasoning. Jalen Hurts is guaranteed a starting position so far, right? Justin Fields, not so much. We'll see what happens in camp, but he'll likely be the starter at some point in the season. My plan was to take a guy like Jalen Hurts and then Justin Fields, and knowing that one of them is probably going to succeed and one of them is probably going to fail. But I still wanted the upside of both. So I'm going to keep it on here, Jalen Hurts this time.
Let me cut you off, Gabe.
And triple down on my quarterback.
A lot about Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. So you have Fields over both of those guys. Because I remember you said when we did our rankings, and you're in this spot, right? So you already have – let's assume that you took Hurts instead of Fields, right? So you already have Hurts and Burrow. And you were saying Mac Jones has the most fantasy potential out of any quarterback that was taken in this draft. So what is your reasoning for going with Fields when you already have those two guys solidified and you could wait a year or two on Mac Jones?
Well, in short, I do love Mac Jones. And my hype for him comes more so around my team and my focus in Dynasty, specifically for my team. So that's a little bit of personal bias there because I'm a Cam Newton owner. But in hindsight, a guy like Mac Jones could easily go off the board here in the next 3 or 4 picks, and I wouldn't be disappointed about it. But I do like his long-term longevity. Clearly, my team is a mix of win now and a little bit of later. I don't think Mac Jones wins games right now. I think a guy with his legs like Justin Fields and Jalen Hurts will win you games right now. So that's why I validated that.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
sorry about that. We're back to Jacob Bartley.
I need a tight end, and I don't want to wait too long. And I like this guy. I think he has huge promise. And, hey, if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, Noah Fant would explode. So I'm going to go with Noah Fant here, secure a young tight end for my team.
I like that.
That's a great pick, Jacob. Great pick.
Great pick. Marquise Brown after him. Back to DeMont at number 3. We're starting to get to these really nitty-gritty picks here.
I know who I would take if I was DeMont, but I'm not going to influence
Let's see if I do it. Would it be a handcuff?
No, but it would be a running. But that's, I mean, that's probably a smarter choice than what I would do.
Oh no, I'm not doing handcuff.
Yeah, but there's a running back I really like. He's a rookie.
I'm gonna Michael Carter. Yeah, I'm taking him.
See, that's the type of pick you need. If he emerges, then that could save your running back.
Yeah, the two guys ahead of him aren't great running backs. Tevin and Ty Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah.
He can easily win the job.
I know a lot of people go no running back, but this is why I hate no running back so badly. Because DeMont was forced to go running back, right? So he went Mostert, Edmonds, Ronald Jones, Michael Carter. 4 guys that are not very good. And in the same time frame, I like Mostert.
And AJ Dillon is good? What kind of
No. I'm not talking about my team. I'm saying, and AJ Dillon is just throwing it out there. But my point is, guys like Lockett, guys like DJ Moore, guys like Higgins, Deontay Johnson.
All my receivers are better than them.
They are. But my point is that you could get better running backs up top and still get some really good wide receivers down below. Whereas you went heavy on wide receiver, got some really good ones. But my point is the difference between the top wide receivers and then that next range is not as great as the top running backs and then the next ones.
That's fair. That's for sure. Yeah.
But I still love that Michael Carter pick, DeMont.
That's nice pick. Brandon Cooks after that. We're starting the 11th round here. The picks are going to get a little nitty-gritty here. We're going to try our best to be as quick as possible. We're going to stay on for about another 10 minutes or so. But as we go through our picks, we'll kind of get silent. Whoever's picking, just kind of briefly go over what you're thinking.
I personally hate my position. I don't like anyone on the board. I hate how the computers hogged all the wide receivers, so it's really difficult.
Well, the wide receivers went quicker than I thought. Like, I'm looking at the wide receivers. I don't love anybody. There's a lot of guys I like, but I don't love any of them.
I mean, all the rookie wide receivers are still there. Bateman, Marshall. I don't think you can – in Justin's position where you already kind of have your flex solidified, you have 2 seconds to make your pick, by the way.
I go Robbie Anderson.
Oh, that's so gross, dude.
Robbie Anderson on a 1-year contract.
Oh, that'd make me sick if I had to do that.
Justin, we're going to keep it right back to you. Go ahead.
The reason I went with him is because I just have Samuel's left, so he gets a bump. Darnold's a bigger thrower than who they had last year. So, I just wanted to win. So he's not a future pick. That's for damn sure. So that's my thought on that. Just the running backs are so ugly. I can't bring myself to pick any of them because it just seems like a waste. But I know one of them will pan out to be valuable. So that was my thought process right there.
So speaking of Robert Tonyan, Sleeper has him as a hybrid wide receiver tight end. That is so weird. I've never seen that for Tonyan.
So here's my thing right now. I don't love anybody, so I'm looking to trade a player. So I want to get someone that's enticing. With transparency, I'm going to take Tannehill or I'm going to take Tua. Tannehill's obviously better, but Tua's more hype. So it throws me off, like, who do I like to pick more? Me, personally, I'm not concerned about switching my 2 QBs, so I'm going to go with hype, and I'll just pick Tua.
That's pretty fair. That's fair game. Duke Johnson after him. DeMont, you're on the board.
I'm going to go with the receiver that should have a bounce-back year and just still holding out that Aaron Rodgers joins them. Jerry Jeudy.
I like that. I almost took Jeudy over my last 2 picks, even over Harris. I almost took Jeudy. So
Jerry Jeudy is a fine pick. Your team, you got a lot of scat back running backs, dude. But when you go, full or 0 RB and you have to pick them up later, that's a pretty solid core. I mean, like Joe said, they're not great, but they're serviceable. And when your wide receivers and your quarterbacks are getting you 40-plus point games,
exactly.
It's nice to have guys that are going to be a little bit consistent and get you that PPR value. James Conner goes off the board next after Jerry Jeudy. Jacob, you're sitting here at the middle of the 11th round now. Let's go.
Yeah, so I only have 2 wide receivers. So, and there are a few guys that I really, really like, and I see him being discussed in the chat, and that is Tyler Boyd. I know he is hurt with the other 2 guys being there, but I still think he's going to be a solid option. Like, I think the 3 wide receivers of Cincinnati, like the lowest one is going to be better than Gallup was, last year.
So Jacob, but Debo's still on the board, and
I like Debo, but I think in fantasy, and I guess you got to consider long term as well. But I just need a wide receiver that I can start and feel confident about, and I know is gonna be there all year, hopefully. And Tyler Tyler
Not
Boyd.
not a bad pick at all.
I'm higher on him than most people, I think, even with the competition for target.
Is T. Higgins gone?
How far do you rank Boyd above Anderson?
Okay.
Higgins won a while
Above
ago.
Robbie?
Oh, yeah, he did.
Because I was debating the same thing, and I just thought target share alone is going to put Robbie as more valuable PPR at the end of the day. That's it.
Do value Robbie if it's just redraft. In Dynasty, I value Boyd a little bit higher than Robbie, but in redraft, it's vice versa. I value Robbie a little bit more.
Yeah, so with my transition of a draft, I went that way. Okay.
Yeah,
and went Moss.
Yeah, I decided I wanted to kind of just speed things up along here, but Jacob, I love your explanation of things. Robert Gronkowski went after that. I saw Zach Moss as a potential of a guy who didn't get a lot of work last year. Neither of those people in the backfield were successful, but when you fall this late and you're already in the 11th round, Zach Moss at the end of the year, he was the one that got the workload. So you got to hope that he continues to get it.
Joe, you said this like a month ago that you think you told me that Zach Moss is going to break out and take the role. And ever since you said that, I'm like, you know what? He might be right. And this was prior to the draft. I was saying that they were going to take a running back. They didn't. That means they're okay going in with what they got.
Yeah.
And I think Zach Moss will emerge as the starter there more than Singletary.
And guys, we're so used. Like I said, it's not your grandpa's NFL anymore. We're so used to guys having to blow up right off the bat that we almost think, hey, if you didn't do anything year one, you're a bum.
Yeah.
But that's not really true. Moss wasn't bad. He just was limited. And I think that when he gets more time in that offense, and Jaden, thank you for pointing that out, I'm feeling actually a little bit of pressure to take a tight end here. And I think that Tanyan was by far the best out of all of these guys from last year. And I think that ultimately Aaron Rodgers is going to re-sign. So I am going to go Tanyan.
That's a great pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have made that pick if he didn't comment that, though.
No, I was looking at – listen, the only other guy that I was considering right there at tight end was Freiermuth, right?
Yeah,
and that's, again, a play for the future. But – I don't trust Big Ben long term. He's got a year or two left. So I do think Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay and has 5 years left. So I'm going to go Tanyan.
That's how bad that Henry and Jonas Smith's value went down because they're together. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, and Henry can't stay healthy. If he could, I would take him. And then my next pick, again, I'm just going for high upside at this point. I would have taken Zach Moss if he fell to me. But I'm going to do something that I like to do, and that's, again, put pressure on some of the other guys. And Chuba Hubbard, Justin took CMC pick number 1. We know he's coming off a big injury, barely played last year. I'm going to take him. And if he gets injured, then great. Or, not great, knock on wood. I don't want CMC to get injured.
Damn dogs. You're muted. Anyways.
My bad.
Anyways.
Hey, Joe, you're definitely going to be the champion in 2032.
It's not a bad pick. Yeah, honestly, I saw him as a potential pick coming up as well. I know Joe likes to play mind games.
Joe thinks about who am I going to trade this guy to?
And literally, look at this. Right before Joe made that pick, how much do you consider handcuffs at this point? Well, clearly, Joe and I were thinking about it.
At this point, a lot, because I'm like, do I want to take some
Joe,
random –
if you're just coming back, you see the comment, how much do you consider handcuffs at this point? So I was obviously thinking about taking him at that point as well. I'm sitting here at 105 left. One of the things that I'm looking at right now is like, do I want to reach or do I not? I look at a lot of these guys and I see that they already have tight ends. And I see a tight end that I like, but the likelihood of him being taken at this point is very, unlikely. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep investing in my running back core or in my wide receiving core, get those young guns that have potential and high upside. And with that being said, as I have a little bit of time left on the clock, I'm going to go ahead and make my pick, and that is Rondale Moore, Baltimore. What? No, it's Rondale Moore, Arizona. Wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals.
Hey, is Elijah Moore off the board?
No.
I believe he is still there. He's there.
So there is some trickery going on here. I see. So for Aaron's question, I'm heavy. This is where, like, past this point, I'm like, what handcuffs do I need? And then also, I consider other people's, but I'm more concerned about getting my handcuffs at this point because I'd rather take like somebody that is going to secure. Like, I would go Jamal Williams here, but I think I can wait and not whatever. If somebody takes him, that's fine. But right here, I'm going with a guy. At this point, you're taking flyers or handcuffs or guys that you believe in. And I've been tooting this horn all offseason is Michael Pittman Jr. This is my dude. This is the guy that I'm all in that I think is going to be the number one target in Indianapolis with Carson Wentz. I think he's going to emerge as the number one there, and I love him. And to get him in the 12th round in a dynasty draft, I'm stoked. I was hoping that he wouldn't go in this round before me.
I love that pick. I was going to get him if he came around right now.
And he's honestly my 4th wide receiver, so I'm not – if it doesn't pan out, if I'm wrong – it doesn't hurt me too bad.
I like that a lot.
And I think you can still get another good wide receiver on your next pick.
Oh, absolutely.
Still a lot of guys left.
That's what I'm saying. You can wait on wide receiver if you have to. But obviously we're testing out different strategies, so it's fine either way.
Going to pass it on to Damon. Damon, you got the 3rd pick.
I'm going to just take Zach Wilson's number one target, Corey Davis.
That's a great pick.
That's not a bad pick at all.
Underrated.
I'm shocked Corey Davis lasts this long.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
It's only because he fell to the Jets. That's the only reason.
I'm not lying when I say I considered him at number 7 over Ayuk, and I haven't taken a wide receiver since. But
Corey Davis has got better numbers than Ayuk.
Well,
I considered him over Pittman. I think there's a very good chance he has a much better year than Pittman, to be honest. And I just like Pittman more. He's younger, so.
I like him over a lot of these wide receivers that have come off the board. Robbie Anderson included.
Oh, Corey Davis.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson's a bum.
Corey Davis might be the most underrated guy.
He's still young. Yeah, he's not that old.
Yeah, he's just going to be a target monster. That's it. He's going to get targets, 20 targets a game.
I wish I had recordings of all of you last year. Robbie Anderson's pretty good, actually.
He is.
Good.
No, Robbie Anderson's not bad.
All right.
I just feel that good about Corey Davis.
Let's talk strategy right now. And this is what Aaron brought up, and I want it to be the catch, but I'm taking flyers as Jacob calls it. And if there's one running back that's in supreme question, and we know his backup beasted before, that's Ezekiel. So I'm going to take Pollard, and if he ends up starting, I know I just hit the jackpot right there. And if I got that in the 12th, whatever, I'm chilling. I'm not depending on him at all. So that's my thought there.
It's not a bad pick. You got the turn here.
We're just going to go wide receiver here, and I see good ones, but no one I love. So I'll just do it for the memes. I'll go Antonio Brown.
I like it. Jacob and I went a little young. Gabe went kind of balanced. DeMont and went no running backs, and Justin went win now. And I think that's you're going to find different strategies like that, right? So I like how we did that.
Well, it's also how the board falls to you. Like you end up getting stuck in, I'm just drafting for win now, or I'm drafting for the future, just depending on how the board falls.
A.J. Brown went off the board. Logan Thomas went next, which was the tight end I was literally just referring to, and now he's off the board. So I'm very upset. That just goes to show, guys, when you have your guy, take him, all right? Because now the bot's got 2 tight ends.
Can we all have a moment of silence for Le'Veon Bell? Isn't it sad?
That happened 3 years ago, dude.
That happened 3 years ago.
I will say it's so weird to go to the waiver wire and see Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if this was 3 years ago, if somebody time traveled to today and then looked at it, they'd be like, what the hell?
I'm gonna take the only starting running back available in Singletary.
That's a starter.
He's in the committee.
He's a starter.
Tevin Coleman is technically the starter. No, I'm not talking about.
No, I know he is.
He is a starter left, still on the board.
Tevin Coleman's available. He's available still. Oh,
yeah.
Ryan Tannehill next. QB starting to come off the board for these late round guys. Actually, team number 4, Autobot, they did a nice job of grabbing a quarterback late. So
that's a good one.
Take a bar, come back to you. We're going to start firing these picks away. I know these are crucial rounds, but we're going to start firing them off. We're probably going to cut up. We have 4 rounds left. I say we probably give it about 2 rounds. Maybe just finish off this next round.
If this was a real dynasty draft, if we were doing this for real, I know this guy wouldn't be left on the board. And I at least want to grab 4 quarterbacks. So I'm going Zach Wilson. I know he would not be there if this was a real dynasty draft.
This is nuts that Matt Ryan and who Mayfield are not picked. Underrated.
I think this year is this. I've played fantasy football for about 10 years now. This year, quarterbacks are more stacked than I've ever seen.
Just like we thought about tight ends last year, right?
No, but I mean, about 80% of those quarterbacks are proven, at least, right? The only question marks really are the 4 new guys, and I'm not even considering Mac Jones, also who's a 5th. That has potential.
I think you're right, Joe. Like getting Jalen Hurts in the 10th round, a guy who's it's crazy.
It's almost a good year to go no quarterback, and I'm not sure Fields and Hurts last this long in a true dynasty, and these other teams aren't taking them. But
I love Gabe getting Burrow at number 7. I mean, Hurts at number 10, and then Matt Ryan at 13.
And he has Hurts.
We're gonna end it here with Joe's pick. Come back around, and we're gonna end with you, Joe, next round. So let's go ahead and fire off these last few picks. Obviously, the last 2 rounds we'll save them for either kicker defenses or they'll be our dart throws. But let's get these last 2 rounds out of the play. What do you think, Joe?
So obviously, I've neglected my wide receivers for some time now. So I'm gonna go Terrence Marshall, and then I'm gonna go Elijah Moore, and that's 2 young wide receivers, and I feel like I got a pretty good chance of one of those guys panning out.
That's really, really nice, and I'm very, very upset. Elijah Moore was on my radar for the next pick. I'm going to keep it here with the money. I haven't drafted a tight end yet. It bit me in the butt when I said it earlier. Literally was the next tight end off the board. So I want to go where the money's going, and that's the guy that just got paid by the New England Patriots. I think if Cam Newton there, this guy has value, and I think if Mac Jones is there, this guy has value. And that is Jonnu Smith, tight end for the New England Patriots. I'm locking up my tight end position in the 14th round. Jacob Bartley, you at number 5.
Okay, at this point, I'm really just going best value available. I mean, in my eyes, at least. And,
Tebow's on the board.
Tebow. You know what? You know who I think, and just to make this point, is the most slept on tight end who's going to be great this year is Tyler Higbee.
Oh,
and
God.
I like to, if I don't get a top tight end, I like getting 2 guys who I believe in a lot. And for me, it's Fant. And look, Jared Everett's gone. And we saw what Higbee did 2 years ago at the end of the year when there was no Gerald Everett. And now he has Matthew Stafford throwing to him, who is supporting Hawkinson. So I think Higbee in the 14th round is a steal.
You know who I just saw there too? Jared Cook. Oh my gosh, I think Jared Cook is going to beat with Justin Herbert.
Arizona?
Seattle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice.
I'm gonna.
On your last pick. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with Madison for the same reason that Justin picked Pollard.
Nice. And especially you got to take those flyers.
Yeah.
No RB.
Another rookie wide receiver. Joe or Justin, round us out again. That's right. I said we're going to go one more round. Sorry, we're going to finish into the 15th. That's typically where the bench spots end because the last ones are kicker and defense. So we'll go through the 15th round. So Joe, we'll end with you. Justin, you're on the clock though. We're going to speed these picks up.
All right, I'm going to go Jamal Williams because he's tried and true and undervalued.
100% nice pick.
Very crazy he fell. And then my last pick, I want it to be spicy. I'm thinking future. I'm thinking undervalued. I'm thinking
make this last pick the spiciest pick ever, boys. Here we go.
None of you will expect this, and that's my boy Henry Ruggs.
He's a sleeper.
So I'm gonna say, hey man, you're a Raider fan. I got Ruggs. He's pretty beast.
You gotta wait for a blow up game though.
That's why I picked him last.
So literally from our news, I'm surprised nobody drafted this guy yet.
That's a great dart throw.
Just shows how damn deep wide receivers are, boys.
Underrated.
Hey, Joe, did you see I took Tyler
Devontae
Higbee,
Parker is still on the board.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Higbee being slept on, bro.
I do like Tyler, and I think with Stafford, that's a great pick.
Man, okay, so I feel like I have to go wide receiver here looking at my team. And just because I want to talk about this guy, I think Mike Williams I know it's late, but I think he has a chance to just blow up this year.
He's always supposed to be good though.
I know, but I think
this late, you're right. It doesn't.
With Herbert, take the one.
How many years are we going to give that guy?
Cam Newton off the board.
This is the last one.
He's had some good years,
So he's had a 10 touchdown year. He's had a 1,000-yard year. Like he's a good wide receiver. He just needs to stay healthy.
That's a surprise to me.
All right, Joe, end it off.
I mean, right here, it's like just take the best value, take this shot in the dark. And the guy that I keep hearing about is Ramondre Stevenson out of New England. and I think he was
the
drafted in the
Garrett Blount.
4th round. So why the hell not? Let's do
You're
it.
right. This is a 2030 draft.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, listen, we all took a strategy
All right,
here.
Jacob,
I
you can
probably
go
wouldn't have
ahead
made
and
some of
take
these
us
picks,
off.
but
Yeah,
Off
that's
the
out.
things there. Really quick, though, we'll do a quick recap. Let's go ahead and summarize the teams here really quick. Again, Justin, number 1 overall, started off with CMC, Josh Allen, Michael Thomas, Kyler Murray, Keenan Allen, Myles Gaskin, TJ Hawkinson, Claypool Davis, Anderson, Troy Tuigaluga, Pollard, Brown, Williams, and Ruggs. That's a solid team. Damon went 0 RB, came out with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, Jamar Chase, Russell Wilson, Mark Andrews, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, Ronald Jones, Michael Carter, Jerry Jeudy, Corey Davis, Devin Singletary, Madison, and Gage.
Sexy.
Nice pick there, by the way, especially if Gage is gone.
I'm not hating that team.
Jones is gone. Jacob Bartley started off with a young core and Jonathan Taylor, drafted from the 5 spot, by the way. Brown, DeAndre Swift, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Jamal Williams, DJ Moore, Aaron Rodgers, Damian Harris, Noah Fant, Tyler Boyd, Michael Pittman, Zach Wilson, Tyler Higbee, Michael Williams, or Mike Williams at this point. Very nice team. I had the number 7 pick. I went with Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Gibson, ETN, Robinson, Carson, Burrow, Devontae Smith, Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Zach Moss, Rondale Moore, Matt Ryan, Johnny Smith, Kadarius Toney, and last but not least, we had Joe drafting in the 10th spot at the turn, Calvin Ridley, Cam Akers, Justin Herbert, Najee Harris, Trevor Lawrence, CeeDee Lamb, Ayuk, Sermon with the Niner back-to-backs. Oh, with the triple back-to-back, Trey Lance, A.J. Dillon, Chuba Hubbard, Terrence Marshall, Elijah Moore, and Dale Stevens.
Your team sucks,
Joe. I had 8 rookies, and the oldest player on my team is Tanyan. So that's
wow.
You know, like I don't love my team like that, but I do think that it's solid.
It's solid. Before we go, I just want to take 1 second. Go to each of you. What was your favorite pick? Whether it was best value. Obviously, these are going to be kind of jaded, but let's just hear what you have to say. I'll start us off. My best pick, I feel like my best value was probably taking a guy like Joe Burrow in the 7th round. Obviously, I think if the bots are being bots, I think he's gone before that. I thought he was an extreme value there, especially think Damon granted me the wishes of not going 0 QB until the 8th round. Joe Burrow was a great find. Damon, I'll start with you next.
I think my best value pick is Corey Davis, just because for the amount of targets he's going to receive.
100%. That's a solid pick.
In a 12th round.
My best value pick, Christian McCaffrey, because he's GOAT.
Joe, what about you?
I mean, you guys are going to disagree with this, but Sermon in the 8th. This guy has potential to be top 10 running back for 5 years.
Okay, end it.
I don't want to be go-to homer with Joe, but I agree.
Jacob?
Yeah.
They'll see, Joe. They'll see.
Yeah.
My best pick is DJ Moore in the 7th round. This guy is going in the 3rd or 4th round in Dynasty startup drafts, and I got him in the 7th. I love it.
Yep.
It's crazy when things like that happen. All right, fellas. Well, we're going to chop these up, edit them. We'll post them onto the social medias. Let the viewers out there get a voice to see who drafted the best. You know, we care about your opinions. But with that being said, guys, we have ranking shows coming up in the next few weeks. We're excited to announce that. It's a perfect time to do it as Dynasty is just getting underway, actually towards the end now, and we're hyping up for the real deal and all the redraft leagues that come with it. But with that being said, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, anywhere on social media, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at First Round Fantasy, or 24/7 Sports Radio Auditorium. We appreciate you guys as always. Thank you so much. Anybody repping the merch today? First Round Fantasy. It's always on sale at tpublic.com. Link in the description below. Always, if you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. We appreciate it. It does us so much, and we couldn't be more thankful. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week for our QB rankings show. It's going to be fun. Have a nice day. Peace.
Go Lakers.